This week on NBA G League Takeover, long live the Kings. The Stockton Kings make history, winning their first ever NBA G League title. We break down the series between the Kings and the Magic, plus a closer look inside at the historic celebration. And later, we feature 3 G League draft-eligible players to watch out for. All that and so much more coming up right now on NBA G League Takeover.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
An NBA G League final showdown that goes 3 games. What a treat for basketball fans. Hello and welcome to NBA G League Takeover. I'm Mike Davis, joined by NBA G League insider Gianna Hearn and 10-year NBA veteran CJ Watson. Let us all congratulate the Stockton Kings on winning the 2024-2025 NBA G League Finals, defeating the Osceola Magic in Game 3, 118-110. Now, a huge accomplishment for the Kings, who were celebrating just making their first franchise ever Finals appearance. So, CJ, what do you think the difference maker was in this series?
For me, this was a great series. I mean, there wasn't much defense played, but I think definitely the team who controlled the boards held down the paint, and Scal did just that. He was blocking shots, getting defensive rebounds, and just making a difference on the offensive glass also. So I think that was the difference for me. Yeah,
he came up huge in that fourth quarter. I think he scored, 7 to 9 points just in that fourth quarter stretch alone. It was a big key for victory for the Kings. But let's take a look at Game 3 a little bit closer. So it was all Magic all game long. In the second quarter, the Magic led by as much as 15 points. At the half, the Kings cut the lead down to 6, but it wasn't until 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter that the Stockton Kings took their first lead of the game. Forward Dexter Dennis had a team-high 23 points, with Terry Taylor following closely behind with 22 and 12 boards. Isaac Jones added 21 and 13 boards. And, of course, the MVP honors went to Mason Jones, who had a double-double with 19 points and 13 assists. Just the game before, Jones had an amazing game, earning another double-double with 27 and 12. So, Gianna, how big was Mason Jones for this team, not only during the playoffs, but all season long?
There might be a clip we'll see later on, but he was talking in the locker room after the game how they call him Mike Ditka because he pushes everybody on his team to be their best, and they'll ask him, why is he on me all the time? He's like, I push them every single day, and now we're seeing this because it's that pushing and that leadership, not only on the court, but off the court, that's really helped his team. But I never doubted him. Mason Jones, this is a long time coming for him. He loses 45 pounds for this season, and it's paying off.
45 pounds loss, played at Arkansas while doing all this extravagant stuff, winning a G League Finals MVP. He's also doing online schooling at Harvard right now, getting his MBA online. So maybe an MBA and the MBA in the future for this guy. Gianna, before I go to you for Mac McClung, CJ, I want to ask you about this. MBA and MBA, can we see it for Mason Jones in the future?
I definitely think so. Like you said, he's doing it right now. He has a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and he's sacrificing a lot. So it just shows that he's ready for the challenge.
All right, now Gianna, here's the interesting wrinkle to this Game 3. Mac McClung, who's been going off all season long, all playoffs long, he really didn't have a tremendous Game 3. He only had 11 points, shot 4 for 21 from the field, so a poor performance for the former MVP. What happened to Mac?
I think there was a difference in a wrinkle of Stockton's roster. The Big Kings, they sent Isaac Jones for this third game of the finals, which they didn't have him at all during the playoffs. So that was kind of their secret weapon that they threw at the Magic. And I think once that happened, you see Scal, he rotated out. That's why we saw him hit those big threes at the end of the game from the perimeter. You were able to stretch the Stockton King team a little differently, which was important in the fourth, especially with Mason Jones out having a leg injury. The last 7 minutes of the game were played without the MVP of the game. And so I think that's why it was so different. The defense and attention on Mac from Dexter Dennis, and then just the offensive prowess from the entire Stockton roster was just too much for Mac and the Osceola Magic. But Mac has had a tremendous postseason, and it shows in all of his numbers, and a tremendous season. I mean, we know who Mac is. you can't be mad at the guy.
No, 100%. Former MVP of the G. So, yeah, just a poor performance for him in Game 3. Real quickly, G, you had mentioned this last week on our podcast for NBA G League Takeover. You said you were curious to see if Trevelin Queen was actually going to play, because if he did, you think that was going to be a big X factor for the Magic. And, of course, he did not play all series long. Do you think the result would have been different if Queen did play?
I definitely think it would have changed things for sure, because he's a league MVP and he's a former finals MVP, so he has the experience. But not only that, he is just one of the greatest athletic players that we've had in the G League. He's springy, he's smart, and he has the experience. So you bring him, and then you also have Isaac Jones come for the Stockton Kings. That would have been a crazy duel. But I think the Kings were really smart in sending Isaac Jones, and the Magic, maybe a missed opportunity not sending Trevelin Queen, because it looks like they needed him.
Yeah, he got some time up in the NBA, but they could have used him certainly in that 3-game series. Now, the series was tied at 1, so Stockton had to actually travel across the country from California to Florida for Game 3. CJ, how much of an advantage is home court in a situation like this? And how impressive is it that Stockton actually managed to overcome this travel disadvantage and secure the title?
Home court means a lot. You can get to sleep in your own bed. You get to stick to your game day routines. But great teams went on the road, and that's what Stockton did. They were able to overcome that, overcome the travel and all that kind of stuff. So, and the crowd also. So that's a big thing too. It means more when you go on the road and win, and shut the crowd up. I used to love doing that when I played. So it's a great feat. Yeah.
Real quickly before we go to the break, one last question for you, CJ. It's just so fascinating to me, the whole game. Up 13, up 15. I mean, the Magic were really dominating this game entirely. And then Stockton comes back and gets their first lead in the fourth quarter. It looks like death by 1,000 cuts, almost just having to win possession by possession. How does a team mentally overcome that when you know it's do or die, it's Game 3, but you're down 15 the whole game, and then you finally turn the tables?
It's called being resilient. They could have easily folded, just like you said, down 15, down 10, never giving up. Just give a shout out to my old developmental coach, Quentin Crawford. He was my coach at the Magic, so he's doing a great job with the Kings, and I'm sure he'll get a shot one day in the NBA too.
All right, there you go. Coming up next, guys, we have more from NBA G League Takeover. We have a closer look inside the party, the celebration, the glory of winning a title. We got all that goodness coming up after the break.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
We came back to go! Big job!
That's what it looks and feels like to be a champion right there. Quality celebration from a quality team. Down 15, consistently behind for most of the game. A sweet victory. But gee, just how sweet of a victory is this for a franchise that made its first ever finals appearance? It's its first ever finals championship. I mean, for the Stockton Kings, what does this mean? How sweet is it?
I mean, they have really had a hard path to getting this championship. You're talking about the first time ever, and I would know because I was the first ever G League sideline reporter for the Reno Bighorns and for the league. The Reno Bighorns are now the Stockton Kings, so I've been around this Kings organization for a long time. They've had so many good pieces in their history of an organization, so to see them win in a fashion like this, where they're coming from behind, it just makes their story that much sweeter. I mean, even if you were to control a game the entire time, it would be a great win, but to come from behind, to really grind out, not have your star, the parity in this win has just been awesome.
It's such a cool feeling. There was a little interesting tidbit that you had mentioned during the commercial break to CJ and I. You were mentioning Isaac Jones and just the role he played in the result and the success for this team. But he had some difficulty to overcome himself because he had some travel obligations. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, travel obligations, as in he played for the Sacramento Kings the night before. He had 8 points, and then he flew across country just to play in this finals game, the third and final game. So you got to know the big team wanted this team to win and really put all that they could into making sure the Stockton Kings had a good chance.
Okay, all right, great stuff there. Pulling double duty, but he had a lot of fun, I'm sure, at that celebration. Coming up, we're talking about some other stars from the G League that are getting their shot at the NBA level. Which G League studs we need to look out for during the NBA playoffs? That's after the break.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
Welcome back to NBA G League Takeover. So let's take a look at the G League studs who have earned NBA contracts. First up is a dude we've talked about all season long. That's MVP J.D. Davison with the Maine Celtics. J.D. earned his first full-time NBA contract. Gianna, when you heard for the news that this was finally going to happen, the reaction, I mean, this is long overdue, right?
Yeah, you said finally. That's exactly what I messaged you and our producer when I saw this. I was like, I mean, how long is it going to take? But you know, when I talked to the coaching staff, Tyler, he said that they had a few items on the list for JD to prove to them. One of them was proving that he could be a backup point guard and control the offense. And the other was just being off-court and on-court leadership when that comes to talking and playing. And I would say he well exceeded everything on their list. And so by the finals, and when he was in the playoffs, excuse me, not the finals, but during playoffs, he had gotten everything. MVP of the league. He was averaging 34 and 13 assists during playoffs. It was kind of undeniable. Like, you have to reward this guy. And if you don't, you're kind of looking like, okay, maybe on to another organization. Now, I know Boston already has a backup point guard, but I think having JD get a 2-year deal, which means not only for the rest of this season through playoffs, but they're giving him another opportunity afterwards to take a look at this guy throughout the summer and the next season. This is, I think, a great way to honor him, and he deserved it. He didn't just get it.
Right, yeah, 100%. Before we go to our next guy, CJ, I mean, the Celtics, they're looking to, you know, repeat as NBA final champions. Is this a guy, JD, can he even find minutes, you think, during a playoff series, yes or no?
I mean, it's going to be definitely tough. You know, you got Drew Holiday, you got Pritchard, and you got the two big guards, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So it's definitely going to be hard, but I think he's there for the future, and I definitely think he can make an impact.
Okay. All right. Another guy we got to talk about, and we've spoken about him actually most recently last week for being named G League Defensive Player of the Year. That's Braxton Key. Now, Key had his two-way contract converted to a standard deal with the Warriors. So, Gianna, what did you see out of Braxton Key this season? He's a young guy who still has a lot to prove.
You know, he averaged 18.4 points, but the reason why he got Defensive Player of the Year is because he led the league in 94 steals. So when you lead the league in steals, you're most often going to get that award. But I think for Braxton, he showed up in the big games when he played in the NBA, so he got that reward of getting this standard deal. Now, different than JD, his is a 1-year deal, so it's only through the remainder of this season. He'll be a free agent in the summer. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Braxton Key after this.
Okay, yeah, defensive prowess is always something teams can use in the playoffs, so we'll see what happens there with him and the Warriors. Next order of business, though, we need to talk about our guy, Bronny James, a hot topic on the show all season long. The 55th overall pick from last year. Bronny had some highs and some lows in his rookie season. The sports media absolutely scrutinized him both on and off the court all season long, but on Sunday, Bronny started his first NBA game, but had a challenging night as he went 2 for 10 from the field. Now, James averaged 2.3 points per game with 31% shooting. His best performance came against the Bucks when he scored 17 points in a showing in the NBA. But the G League for him was certainly a different story, as he averaged 21.9 points per game and just over 5 boards and 5 assists. His shooting percentage was 44%. So 44 to 31, a big jump when it came to the G League instead of the NBA. So Gianna, head coach J.J. Redick gave Bronny an A+ grade for this season. Do you agree with that?
Well, A+ is pretty high. I mean, that means you have no room for improvement. I'm going to give him probably a B+, A-, Because I think for everything that he faced, all the criticism, even just the mental struggles he has to go through from what he dealt with his health struggles, he really attacked everything with resiliency. And not only that, he improved on everything he did. Where people, I don't think, gave him a fair shot from the beginning of the season. They wanted him to produce game 1, game 2, game 3. We talked about it on the podcast. I said, let's take a break. Let's see what he does. In tip-off tournament, he was averaging 13.4 points. And you mentioned he averaged 21 points in the regular season. But the shooting percentages, he averaged 44% from the field in the regular season. But in tip-off tournament, 36. And from the three-point line, 21. Regular season, 38. So he improved in every single area. That's all you can ask for from a young man who's drafted in the 55th position, which most people don't expect much out of. Unless you're Andrew Wiggins and Patty Mills. Those are two that have done great things from that spot.
Yeah, it's interesting. CJ, let me ask you this. I think all season long we've basically been getting to this to one question. Is Bronny James, and is it too early to tell? Probably, yes. But I'll still ask it. Do you think Bronny is more so an NBA player or a G League player at the end of the day?
I mean, I think he's definitely a little bit of both, but I definitely think he has the talent and the upside to be an NBA player. But that's what the G League is for, to get better, to develop. And that's what he's been doing the whole season. He's gotten better, like Gianna just said, over time. And that's what it takes for a rookie. He's not going to be great this first year or first couple months. So it takes over time, and he'll get there.
Okay. And any playoff experience you think this go around for him with LeBron and Luka, Pops and Luka?
No, he'll be watching just like me and you.
All right, there you go. Coming up after the break, we're talking about the exciting G League prospects who are draft eligible. From Dink to Darlin, we got you covered.
This is NBA G League Takeover, sponsored by Kumho Tire.
Welcome back to NBA G League Takeover. Now we're going to highlight some guys to watch for when you're watching the NBA draft in June. Let's start with one of our favorites, a former Ignite guy, Terry Darlin, friend of the show and host of Certified G's. Jeffrey Key spoke to him about roots in Africa and his ability to play multiple positions at the pro level.
Africa is known for producing some really great big men. Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo, Joel Embiid. They haven't produced many guards, but you have a chance of being the first born and bred African to make the NBA. Like, what does that mean to you to be the first?
For my country, it will be like a great story too. After like so many years, you know, no one in my country get drafted. I'm kind of like an example. I just want to show the example to those younger African players, you know, back home, to show them like, you know, everything is possible. You know, it doesn't matter where you came from or what. If you put the work in, you're always gonna, you know, it's gonna pay off.
What position do you feel most natural in? Because you're 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan. Like you said, you have the agility and the movement of a guard. Do you prefer playing the one, or are you good with anywhere from the 1 to the 4?
Here with the Blue Clothes, I play all the position. I play 1 to 5. Where I'm at right now, it doesn't matter for me. At the end of the day, I just wanna hope, you know, where you put me, I'm just gonna find out. I will, you know, figure out how to play. That's all I know right now. If you ask me to play the 1, yeah, for sure, I will make the play for you. If you want me to play the 5, yeah, I will set the screen, do all those little things. But right now, to be honest with you, I feel comfortable like with all the positions. To be honest with you, I can play all the positions.
Well, one of the more interesting things about you, Cherry, is also your defensive versatility. Because like you said, the 7'1" wingspan. The 7'1" wingspan is huge. Talk about what you could offer at the NBA level defensively, just because of your wingspan, your height, your frame, your speed, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, first of all, you know, on defense, I can defend on 1 to 5. You know, I can defend on the point guard, so many things. I can get deflection, and also I can steal the ball. I got so many, you know, so many stuff in my bag I can use when I'm on defense. I'm a really good shot blocker too. And actually, like, if you can check the stat, I have like almost 1 block per game.
Recently, with the Blue Coats, you've been going on a tear. You had 28 points the other day, which was a career high. You're showing off those guard skills that a lot of times maybe you didn't get to show off while you were with Ignite. So talk about how your game has improved over the last couple years.
I mean, my game improved a lot, I can tell you. And I'm not surprised right now about what I'm doing, because during the offseason, you know, I put so many working, and also my situation with Ignite, open my eyes, like how to play the good basketball, how to play the right way, and always show up, no matter your coach asks you to do on the court, just do it.
All right, last year, the NBA draft saw 3 players from the NBA G League Ignite drafted. Ron Holland went 5th overall to the Detroit Pistons. Modest Buzelis went 11th overall to the Chicago Bulls. And Tyler Smith went 33rd overall in the second round, or 3rd overall in the second round, drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. As we look ahead to the 2025 NBA draft going down Wednesday, June 25th, Cherry Darlin, who we just heard from, is next in line. So, Gianna, what do you like about his game, and does it have anything to do about the fact that he can guard and play all 5 positions?
Well, obviously, that's one of the best things about his game. I mean, he's nimble and he's athletic and he's long, which bodes well for the next level, for the NBA. But what I think he's going to need to iron out is, he even said in his answers when he said, what position do you play best? He didn't have one. He said he could do 1 through 5. That is a positive. But when you're in the NBA, and if you're not a starter, if you are not the star of a team, you need to iron out your position. So I think over the offseason and when he's doing draft workouts, they're going to want to see what can he actually do, what role would we put him in.
Okay, all right. Next up, another former Ignite guy, also looking to hear his name called on draft night. That's Dink Pate. How did Pate help his draft prospects this season with the Mexico City Capitanes, G?
You know, I think Dink, he had some hardship he had to face with Ignite folding. He was going to be the star of that team. Then he goes to Mexico, a country he doesn't know, at a very young age. But I think what he did was show that he is flexible and he can learn from just about anybody. There's a lot of veterans on that team, and he took a lot of their advice. If he wasn't putting points on the board, he was rebounding. So I think averaging 10 points and shooting 40% from the field, plus getting the amount of rebounds he got, I think he's looking good.
Okay, there you go. Thank you guys so much for spending such a great season with us on NBA G League Takeover. That's Gianna Hearn, CJ Watson. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here at Fox 5 Studios for NBA G League Takeover.